Mayor, I've got a couple people in attendance. Aside from the people in this room, I've got Miss Finkel. I've got iPhone, which I believe may be Councilor Marquardt, and then I've got Krista Miller on as well.
You have two at the bottom there. Right?
I've got two that are designated as iPhone. They're still connecting to audio, so I can't tell who is who.
Oh.
One is Marquardt. I don't know who the other is.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 5:15. This is the City of Shaniko regular City Council workshop meeting. It's May 11, 2026, 5:15 p.m. Call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is to review agenda items for the City Council May 11, 2026, 6 p.m. meeting. Do we have any comments about the agenda that's coming up at 6 o'clock?
On that particular agenda, I would make a motion. I suppose this is a workshop, so no decisions will be made, but I'd like to consider adding an agenda item to that when we get to that session
Okay.
regarding the recorder position.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments?
No comment.
All right. Second item on the agenda is discussing the unincorporation of the City of Shaniko. Council Member Marquardt would like to speak on that. Go ahead.
I am quite concerned that it just seems like this is a repetitive thing over and over and over. I mean, in the past 5 years alone, the city has essentially gotten very close to disincorporation numerous times. I've got in writing at least 4 different previous city lawyers recommended this. Typically, those recommendations were made in their letter of resignation when they quit as the city attorney. Every single one of them has recommended disincorporation. And I just, I feel that our community, the public, the taxpayers, the constituents would be best served as a rural Wasco County area and not the municipality. And the reason for that is we are not big enough to actually function as a city. And my concern is that the turnover in the council, you know, it's like there's 24 people in town. Everybody's been the mayor or a councilor or a recorder or whatever. And it just seems like the seats change and nothing ever really happens. There's no benefit. I'm not seeing any reason to stay incorporated as a city. So I just think that we ought to discuss that and what's best for the public.
May I add something?
Ms. Brown?
I've been in contact with Chrissy over at the elections office of Wasco County, and she is putting together an education session for us, just a town hall to educate us as to the benefits of staying incorporated. Some of those do include our access to water, looking up what the water district would entail. It's a very similar structure to what we have as a council. A water district would entail locals who live here creating a board that run by elections. This board would create policies, would collect payment. Likely the resident payment would go up for that water, but it would essentially still be run by locals in this discussion that I had with Chrissy. And again, just for education, so it's not me giving you the information through the game of telephone, but instead having a representative to come to discuss that. I do think it's very important to consider the benefits and of course the cons of remaining a city. And I know that there has been a bunch of turnover, and ultimately I think it keeps going because people do continue to keep stepping up. We've got the DLCD grant that's pending our acceptance for just under $30,000. We've just wrapped up the Business Oregon block grant to make the plan for the water system that hasn't been updated since 1984, and that the funds that to complete the project will be applied for in this next year. And if we don't have a city, then we lose that infrastructure, we lose those funds. It was a waste of money to even bring an engineer out to complete that project. In addition, a number of other grants have been applied for that we have a pretty good chance of being awarded, and that would all be lost with disincorporation. So that's my personal opinion. Again, I am going to invite somebody out to give more information, so it's not us talking in circles like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. It is my understanding that in order for the city to disincorporate, that would have to be placed on the ballot. That is not something that this body can unilaterally decide. That would be as a public vote for the city itself, for the residents, all registered voters inside the city limits. Does anybody else have any more questions or comments?
Councilmember Keegle, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
I just don't see how this is working. I understand that you're saying that, all of these grants, that's all fine and dandy, but the core concept of a municipal government is to serve the people, right? The taxpayers, the landowners, the residents, the tourists. And it sounds like the water system is going to be taken care of. It's not like the state's going to come in and shut everything down and nobody's got water. So I'm just a little concerned. It just seems like this whole thing's just going in circles. I mean, it's never ending. And then what happens when the administration changes? I mean, this whole thing has just gone on for too long. And frankly, I completely disagree. I think we ought to be rural Wasco County. The county has a lot more resources. They have a lot more funding. They have a lot more staff. They've got all the mechanisms in place. They actually have, their stuff together, so to speak. And Shaniko will never have that unless we grow to at least 100 people. And the way things are going right now, I don't see that happening. So realistically, what we need to do is disincorporate. And Mark, I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to check with an attorney, but it is my understanding that under home rule jurisdiction, the public body may vote to disincorporate. And frankly, it's not going to be an option if CIS drops the insurance policy because there's no other insurer for municipalities. And we're not big enough to self-insure like the city of Portland because we don't have the capital. So at some point, CIS drops the policy. That's it. We ain't got a choice. And frankly, I think that day's coming.
Anyone else? Thank you, Councilmember Marquardt. Anyone else have any comments or questions?
No.
No?
None from me.
All right, so we're going to move on to the number 3, which is the proposed ordinance to reduce, Section A of item 2, is qualification of officers. Councilmember Marquardt, would you like to start the discussion on that?
Yes. We just need to clarify the city charter is akin to our Constitution. It is the highest governing document in the municipality. There is no higher form of document rule. It outweighs everything, ordinances, resolutions, all of that. And it specifically states that any person besides the recorder, which was recently changed, every other position, you must live within city limits for at least 12 months beforehand. And my concern is that, I'm going to be honest, Mark, I think you're a resident of the state of Virginia. I've made a public records request for a copy of your photo ID. That public records request has not been fulfilled. I don't know. It just seems like to me this would be pretty easy to handle if you could just, say, hey, look, I am a resident of the state of Oregon. I'm just a little concerned here that perhaps you might not be an Oregon resident.
Thank you, Councilmember Marquardt. Does anyone else have any comments?
No.
I'll add that there is some documentation, resolutions and whatnot, I believe passed in 2023. They should be on the city website. I will procure those documents and send them along. That designates what is and is not a resident. And let me grab those documents and send them along so we can more effectively have this discussion.
I just would like to come out and ask, Mayor Haskett, are you a resident of the state of Virginia, yes or no?
Does anyone have any more comments regarding this issue?
No, none for me.
I have a signed document here that was requested for me to give Councilmember Marquardt because he's selling his property here inside the city limits. I'm going to need a physical mailing address so I can send this document with a wet signature. Councilmember
I
Marcourt, will you have the opportunity, will you send the recorder your physical address so I can send you the document regarding
Mayor
the
Haskett,
property?
you must be mistaken. I do not own any property in the city of Shaniko. I was a tenant, a renter.
Oh, okay, so I have a document here that you sent me. Are you familiar with this document?
Which one would that be?
It's the document that you asked me to sign regarding the property on B Street, no, 3rd Street, 3rd and B. There was a document that you asked me to sign because someone is selling that property there. Are you familiar with this document you sent me?
Okay, here's the issue. The city of Shaniko needs to issue building permits. I understand that there's not a staff, there's not a building department. You are the mayor.
Mr. Marcourt, I have your document here and I
Yes,
signed it and I'm willing to send it to you. Where can I send you this document so you have a wet signature?
I will email you a mailing address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please send that to the city recorder. Thank you
I
very
will.
much. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, item 3, the proposed ordinance to reduce speed and prohibit engine braking. Councilmember Marcourt, would you like to start the discussion on that?
Yes, as we discussed quite some time ago, I want to say it was several months ago, I think that we ought to enact a city ordinance that prohibits engine braking, particularly on the semi trucks on Highway 97. Um, hip, Most municipalities, every municipality that I've seen has a sign. ODOT puts up a sign that says, unmuffled engine brakes are prohibited, and then there's an ORS. Um, I think we ought to enact an ordinance to outlaw that. It just seems unnecessary. It's kind of a noise burden, and frankly, I don't see any benefit to people running their Jake brakes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Marcourt. Councilmember Cagle, do you have any comments?
I think that would be cool, but I mean, if they would do it, I don't know how to go about that.
Councilmember Brown, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I also think that the engine braking is a problem around here. I'd want to discuss a little bit more about what the enforcement looks like. I'm also exploring an option to start the process and reducing the speed limit around the corner, which starts with a request for a traffic review and traffic information session from ODOT. So that's also going to be in motion here shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
I,
Before we move on, is there any other comments or questions regarding this engine braking and speed limit?
yes, I would like to add that it would be the enforcement mechanism would be obviously Wasco County and Highway Patrol. So the city would not, it's not like someone has to stand out there with a microphone and enforce. I think that just having the signs put up would probably be a deterrent. I don't think it will stop all of the engine braking, but my guess is it would stop quite a bit of it. And that would be on ODOT since the highway is their jurisdiction. They would pay for those signs and put the signs up. So to my knowledge, it wouldn't cost the city anything.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Marcourt. So the part 4 of this workshop agenda, I have public works improvements. We can start with the public. We don't really have sidewalks. I think maybe this was meant to be boardwalks. Public boardwalk. Councilmember Marcourt, would you like to start the discussion?
Yeah, a while back, I observed some improvements being made to the boardwalk, which, obviously is city property as it being a city sidewalk. It was on the east side of the Shaniko Hotel there. Although I am glad that they're improving it, that's great. But it just seems like, shouldn't there be some kind of like land use application or some kind of approval? I mean, it's starting to becomes a slippery slope if any Joe Blow can just come along and, start tearing up sidewalks, right? So I just think that I'm glad that they're doing it. That's great. That's awesome. But they ought to get approvals to do that kind of a stuff.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Brown, do you have any comments on that?
I agree. I'm thankful that they went through with the process and it did turn out well. I can't disagree that there ought to be a process for that sort of thing and drawing up some sort of application might be of our best interest. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Cagle.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably something in, you know, in the ordinances or whatever that probably says that they need to do that.
It is my understanding that the jurisdiction for the public boardwalks falls squarely in the city of Shaniko.
Mhm.
In
I
this,
agree.
this body. Okay, any other comments on the public boardwalk issue?
Are we gonna do
Not in
anything
this
about
workshop.
I,
that? Right.
I've got a comment.
Sure, go ahead,
I,
Councilmember Markwart.
I, I just want to kind of make it be known publicly. Once again, really happy that they're doing it. That's awesome. It appears to be pretty pretty good quality. I don't know. It seems to be fine, but it just kind of sets a dangerous precedent if any Joe Blow can just kind of come along and do whatever to city streets. I mean, if somebody, let's just say an unidentified individual, were to come in and, gee, let's say put some concrete Jersey barriers right in the middle of the hotel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone did that, it seems like they'd be arrested pretty quickly, right? So it just seems it sets a dangerous precedent when we allow people to just kind of do whatever. And you know what really bugs me is those particular people used to be in office and they know damn well that they need to get approvals. They just went ahead and did it anyway. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. I think that everything should be equal in the name of equality in the 14th Amendment. If everybody else has to put in a land use application and go through the whole process, they need to as well. That's my comment. Thank you.
All right. Part B, we've got vandalism. Councilmember Markwart, would you like to discuss that? Lead the discussion.
Yeah, there appears to be let's just say an individual that used their personal equipment, presumably a backhoe, to fill in a trench that was for a public works project that was approved over a year ago. And so I'm just not understanding A, why they felt the need to do that, and B, once again, why? I mean, why would you go over and fill in that trench? It's a public works project. It was approved by the city. I don't understand. Why would somebody do that?
Because they're dicks.
No, hold on. Don't speak out of turn.
Yeah.
All right, so Councilmember Cagle, would you like to
I
make a
apologize.
comment on this? Let's try and refrain from profanity.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle, please continue.
Yeah, I just think it was a act of, you know, defiance, and I would love for heads to roll, but
I didn't see
Well,
it.
let's be professional here, Kegel. I'm trying to address the
well,
in a
you're
professional
stating the obvious.
manner.
You're,
All right, let's keep the crosstalk down. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Markwart. Please continue.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Miss Kegel. I just kind of want it stated publicly that A, I don't think that's cool at all, and B, let's say if somebody else did that to someone else, feels like they'd probably be in the back of a cop car. So I just think that it's not right to vandalize public works projects. You know, it's a public city street, it's a public works project, it's a public utility, it was approved, you're using a city backhoe. I don't know why people feel the need to do that. And I don't want to go into any further. I'm not going to make accusations on who did or did not do it. I do know who did it, but I'm not going to name names.
I did not. I did
I
not
just think it's not
personally.
cool.
Thank you, Councilmember Markwart. If I could interject, I did not personally witness anybody doing that. Not personally. I did not see, and I don't think anybody on this body saw who actually did it. Councilmember Brown, continue. Go ahead.
I wanted to weigh in here because I want this to be a productive conversation, and Councilor Marquardt brought up an issue. While we won't be making decisions in this room, I think we can all agree that that was inappropriate for a public works project to be filled in by somebody. I would like to suggest actions for moving forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And I think even though, yes, the city council approved that this project was going to be fulfilled and we had the waterline map up on the website, I think ultimately when we go forward with this project again, which we anticipate will be happening early this summer, that we properly notify all of the residents around with the exact date that this is going to happen. That really covers our that covers ourselves to say, look, you knew this was a public works project. There is no deniability. Just again, for the sake of covering our trying to not use
Any
profanity as
update
well.
on that?
Sure, yeah.
Let's just leave it there.
Okay. All right, are there any?
I would agree with Council President Brown on that.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Brown. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment on this before we end this workshop? Councilmember Markwart,
I have no further comment. Thank you.
Councilmember Brown,
No further comment.
Councilmember Cagle.
I'm good.
All right, so it is like
5:40.
5:40 on May 11th, 2026. We are going to adjourn this workshop. We will be meeting back here at 6 o'clock for the regular city council meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
What's the score?